On Saturday, December 14th, Jaime Munguia returned to the ring and returned home to Tijuana to face another super middleweight as he intended to close the year out in the sport of boxing. But what he didn't realize was that the opponent in question would be more of an enigma than he had anticipated. This was a night for Jaime to return to the ring, to get back into a flow of winning after having faced the likes of Saul Canelo Alvarez just a little bit earlier in the year in May. This would be his second fight. Let's talk about what turned out to be not only a spoiled return to home for Jaime, but something for the record books. Saturday, December 14th, turned out to be an amazing day of boxing. And the day's events were capped off with an opportunity for me to take in ESPN's broadcast of the grand return home of Jaime Munguia as he faced super middleweight Bruno Surace. This was going to be a chance for Jaime to continue a winning way after being defeated for the first time in his career in May of this year when he faced Canelo Alvarez. I had been impressed with the fact that his return to the ring in September against Eric Bazinian, that he was on track to righting the wrongs of which he met with his fate against Saul Canelo Alvarez. And when I tuned in to ESPN, Jaime was just beginning his ring walk, which made me excited because I thought that these would be fights that overlapped and I may not get a chance to see everything. And boy, was I impressed by being able to sit in and watch this match. Now, the opponent, Bruno Surace, came in with a record of 25-0 with 2 draws and only 4 KOs. He's 6 feet tall and from Marseille in France. Now, when we don't know about fighters from different parts of the world due to lack of promotion and the fact that networks do not often give information on fighters as they should. They spend too much time building the house fighter, and oftentimes that's unfair because they do have information and they could be more forthcoming with providing that type of information for the viewing audience, but they decide not to do that, and it hurts us. And sometimes if they would just offer up, we would find out a great deal more about what we may be witnessing. In this case, Jaime came out his normal aggressive style, but he operated behind a high guard, and his footwork, I had remarked, was pretty good in this fight. Jaime was using feints coming in behind the jab. He kept his hands high. He circled. He let his hands go. He was very effective out front in every aspect. Bruno was trying to jab and circle, and he was looking to get his shots off, but the experience of Jaime really was giving us a show of what was the difference between the two. Now, in the second round, Munguia scored a right to the chin followed by a serious left that dropped Surace down. He made it up inside the count, but he was hurt. And as Jaime moved in, you could see that it was only going to be a matter of time where he could really turn it up against Bruno. But even though we wanted that to be the case, Munguia, who's 28, wasn't able to get that job done that way. The fight changed somewhat as after the knockdown, he went in and started cutting the ring off on Bruno and banging him against the ropes, making the distance between the two half. Jaime, whose record now is 44-2, 35 KOs, looked to be, to me, a guy that was a little bit playing with his food, and it could have been because he was fighting before his hometown. But Bruno, who, upon reflection, watching the fight a second time, as I said, I didn't know the kid going into the first viewing of the fight. He was looking to counter Jaime, but Jaime's experience and his timing was giving Bruno problem. But timing would turn out to be the factor that turned this fight on its edge, because as Jaime began to batter him against the ropes, we noticed that Bruno was covering up against the ropes and taking good punishment. But as we got closer to the finale, you could see something transpiring where Bruno was trying to counter Jaime's counters. Interesting, because when you counter a fighter's counter, it creates a window of pause. Whether you're countering with a one single shot or a combination. Punching with a guy is always something that an aggressive, forward-moving fighter has issue with. And that's what we saw in this instance. And so during this is when we saw Bruno counter Jaime while he was against the ropes with a sharp, fierce right hand under Jaime's lowering guard. And that changed the fight instantaneously. It was a well-timed counter shot that Jaime didn't see. And now he found himself on the canvas. And that was one of the most explosive counter punches that I've seen in a long time. Kind of reminiscent of when Juan Manuel Marquez countered Manny Pacquiao and caught him coming in, and Pacquiao fell face first. In this instance, Jaime fell on his back and did not pick up the count until the referee was at 8. And as he rose to stand, the referee stopped the fight because Jaime did not beat the count. And just like that, the fight was over. It was an amazing moment and a historical moment for boxing and for Bruno Surace. He has suddenly beat a world-class former champion and contending fighter and catapulted himself from obscurity into the here and now. I remarked it was one of the greatest moments in a tremendous day of boxing that I had seen in recent memory. But it was very unfortunate that ESPN failed to do their post-fight during all of this. He wasn't granted the opportunity to stand before the cameras and speak about his victory and everything. They signed off rather quickly. I didn't like that because I think that for such a historical moment, he should have had his place in the sun. But never mind, because you can go and pull this fight up for yourself and see an amazing moment where a man went from no one to someone instantaneously. And that's what happened and was the story to this fight. Salute to Bruno Surace and the success that he found Saturday night. It was amazing. And Jaime has already activated his rematch clause. But it was something that no one saw coming. But if you watch boxing enough, you know that these things do happen. It was so exciting. And to see the Cinderella man right before your eyes, rounding out a day of wonderful boxing. I can't speak highly enough of it enough because I've seen my share, and it was just one of the most amazing things to behold. What do you think? This is Stormy B-Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know what your thoughts are about Bruno Surace and his success that he found Saturday night against Jaime Munguia. Would you like to see him again? Peace to everyone out there, and everyone please remain safe.